talking phase 1 ice cream today to help all those people who have a sweet tooth get through their healing process on phase 1. We're going to start off by grinding up some xylitol because we're going to be using this as our sweetener in this recipe. You can do this in a coffee grinder. You can also grind up your xylitol in a blender. You want to use a larger quantity of xylitol if you're going to use a blender, so go ahead and do the whole batch of what you've bought all at once, maybe 2 to 4 cups at a time in a blender, because otherwise it will just clank around in the bottom of your blender and not get fine ground the way we want it to. We're going to be placing a 1/4 cup of xylitol in a coffee grinder. Xylitol is made from the bark of a birch tree. It's a low glycemic sweetener that is a great alternative to stevia, because a lot of people find the flavor of stevia very strong. We tend to use 3 different sweeteners when we're sweetening our phase 1 desserts, and that would either be stevia, licorice root, or xylitol. So what we're going to do with our xylitol now that it's in the coffee grinder is just turn it on, and we're going to look for the xylitol crystals to turn into a really fine powder. Doesn't actually take very long. Now, to make a phase 1 ice cream is actually quite simple. All we're going to be doing is taking a high-fat nut, and in this case we have 2 cups of pecans, and blending it with equal amounts of water. The key to making any ice cream is to do a high fat content, so it really doesn't matter what kind of nut or seed you use, as long as it's high fat, and mostly that would be hemp, pecan, pine nut, macadamia nuts. You can use coconut cream, and that pretty much covers it for the high fat nuts. We're going to go ahead and take the pecans and place them into our blender. A little trick on making things really creamy is to blend the nuts with just a little bit of your water to begin with, to cream that and homogenize it before we add the rest of the water. So we'll go ahead and place about half of our water in with the pecans to start, and turn it on. We'll add the remaining water to the recipe, which we had again was 2 cups of pecans and 2 cups of water. To that we'll add the ½ cup of xylitol that's powderized. And over time you'll figure out how much xylitol you prefer in your recipe. It may be a little less, it may be a little more. This is a great foundation to make ice creams. What we're going to do next is talk about flavorings and add to this particular recipe the vanilla bean as our flavoring. What we do with vanilla beans is just slice them open along the side, and once you've sliced it open, we'll just take a spoon and run it along the inside and scrape out all of the great vanilla bean seeds inside, and that's where we'll get a lot of our flavor. As you can see, a lot comes out of one bean. That'll all go in our recipe. Some people prefer to use a whole bean in recipes, and what ends up happening is it's a little bit fibrous. So once you've scraped it out really well, what you can do is soak the vanilla bean in a little bit of water, and what you'll have is a really nice vanilla water to use in recipes. And if you just use a little bit of water to soak your vanilla bean, you'll end up with a nice concentrate of water. Now, before we finish blending, I'd like to talk a little bit about some other flavors that you can put in these ice creams to give them a little bit more taste. You can use any of the extracts that you like. You can use almond extract. There are some really nice extracts that you can buy online that have maple flavoring and coconut, so anything that you prefer to put in here to adjust it to your preferences, go ahead and do that. There's also a variety of flavored stevias that you can use. Some are English toffee, you can use plain stevia, and you can go ahead and use any of your favorite spices such as cardamom, You can use cinnamon and anything that comes to mind, orange, and you can also make a nice lemon sherbet with some of these ice creams. We're going to go ahead and finish blending this up. And it's that simple. All you're really doing is blending nuts with water, adding a bit of flavor, and there you have it, ice cream. So that's part one. What we're going to do next is turn this recipe into ice cream by using an ice cream maker. Here we have a 2-compartment ice cream maker. There's a variety of ice cream makers that you can buy on the market. This one has 2 1-quart ice cream makers that sit side by side, so you can make 2 flavors and accommodate everyone's taste. You can also buy this particular model in a 2-quart variety and make 1 big batch at a time. What you do is you keep these containers frozen in the freezer, and as you want to make ice cream, just pull them out and they're ready to go. It takes about 20 to 30 minutes to make a batch of ice cream in one of these machines. You can buy ice cream makers that are ready to go, meaning that you don't have to freeze anything, you just pour your mixture into the ice cream maker and turn it on. They do take a slightly longer amount of time to turn your mixture into ice cream, and they are a little bit more expensive, but there's some out there to suit every need. There's also these great ice cream makers that you put the ice cream inside of a ball, a kickball for children, and you let the children run around and play with the ball, and after about half an hour you can open up the ball and it's ready to be served, and that's one way to make a fun day in the park with the children. So we're going to go ahead and pour our mixture into an ice cream maker. There's a little trick that we want to remember, to put the mixing paddle inside of the container and put the lid on. As you'll see in the lid there is a hole that we'll be pouring our mixture through into the blender. And the reason we want to do this is because we want to turn the paddle on before we put the mixture in. What that does is it helps to keep it off of the sides. If you put the ice cream into the container too soon and don't put the paddle in, what will happen is you'll get a thick buildup all over the sides of the ice cream and you won't be able to mix it properly. So we'll go ahead and turn this on, add our ingredients, and then we'll have ice cream in about 20 minutes. We're back, and now it's been 20 minutes and our ice cream is ready to go. Thank you for joining us. It's been our pleasure to present to you ice cream for people on Phase 1.